So thanks everyone for coming along and sharing. Yeah, just a bit of background. Yes, I'm a digital marketing coach. I help people basically, use the internet to get their message out. And occasionally I come across, I work with a lot of inspirational people. And occasionally I come across someone, I just think like, this message needs to get out there. This is not just a job for me. It's really, it really is a passion. And the more I've engaged with Jade's material, I've just been like, hell yeah, like people need to be exposed to the stuff. Because as you guys have seen this morning, like everybody struggles with this stuff. And the other thing is everyone thinks they're the only people that struggle with this stuff, right? Like it's just me that I can't get my, act together. I can't control my thoughts, can't, control my mood, I can't stick to things. And then you start talking about it and you're like, wow, it's actually pretty universal. And Jade's approaches is really just simplified it, made it super accessible and super powerful as well. So Jade, for people who don't know you, I'd love to just share a bit of like your story. Like, how did you get to, your epiphany to the point of view? How did you discover this?
Okay. So it started 10 years ago. So I had issues with mental health from quite a young age. So kind of anxiety, depression from when I was about 19. Obviously went to the doctors as most people do at that age when you've got mental health issues. Tried various medications, weren't really working for me. And then my mum used to get up ridiculously early and go to these boot camps in the morning, like 6 a.m. And she's like, right, you need to come. You need to get out the house. You just need to change something about your day to day and it's going to make you feel a bit better. And obviously being 19, I was not happy about getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go and exercise outside in the rain. But I did it and she dragged me kicking and screaming. And I found that in itself, changing something about my day to day, but also the exercise factor really helped. And it took a while before I recognized that was the change that had kind of made me feel that little bit more positive, that little bit less anxious during the day. But yeah, I got to that point where I was thinking, okay, this is really making a difference. So decided to choose that career path in the form of personal training. Started my study, but I still had the mental health issues. Therefore, I really struggled to kind of keep up with it. I thought to myself, if I can't motivate myself to make these changes, if I can't monitor my own, mental health and my own fitness, how can I help someone else? So it was a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of imposter syndrome, and I actually ended up quitting. So I went down a kind of bad road where I had bad habits myself. I was eating, comfort eating, I was drinking far too much, and it just wasn't great for a very long time. I then kind of started exercising again, and I realized, I refound my love for exercise, and I was like, right, I'm going to look at this from a different angle. Before, when I'd started exercise to help people, I was focusing more on losing weight, and I found that just wasn't a priority for me, but I was trying to make it a priority because I wasn't focused so much on the losing weight. It wasn't my passion. I didn't want to do it. Instead, this time I focused more on strength building, which I feel is really important for your mind and your body, obviously. So now I was focusing more on that. I was more invested in the course. I can help people in this way. Again, mental health got in the way a little bit. And I was thinking, again, I keep having these mental health issues. I cannot help other people. And it was actually my dad that said to me, and he won't remember this, but he said to me, well, do you know what? Just give up then. There's no point in trying to make these changes and just give up. And I was like, no, do you know what? I'm not going to let this obstacle hold me back from the things that I want to achieve. I'm going to make these changes. And I'm going to level up, so to speak, and get past that barrier where I'm saying to myself, you're not good enough. You cannot do this. And I'm going to keep battering and just be successful. So thank you, Dad. Came back to it, like I said, with a focus on being strong, not skinny. Fast forward 2 years at a commercial gym, successful, really enjoying it, but not feeling the passion as much as I first was. I started looking more into holistic care. So the theory that, everything is connected. So mind, body, spiritual, if you're kind of that way inclined. And I started incorporating things I was learning to my clients. So focusing a little bit more on kind of like small realistic changes, moving away from the focus of weight and measurement, more on the focus of changes such as what we're talking about, putting your phone away earlier in order to get a better sleep, looking at your eating habits. What can we change? Not get rid of all this junk food. I don't like that term. We'll talk about that. But making small, realistic changes that you can stick to. And I found that even though clients still had this focus on weight loss and, looking good, which is absolutely fine. Everyone has their motivations and their reasons. But once they took the focus away from the weight loss and more towards, I'm going to try and sleep better, I'm going to try and do this and that, everything comes together. Everything comes together. It trickles into all kind of aspects of your life. So it's about taking the focus away from what you think you're doing this for into what's going to really, really help you in the long run. And everything, like I said, will all come together. Like I said, I'm careful of the language I use. So with clients, for example, it's changing words such as treats and cheat days, and turning them into foods of a less nutritional value. It's not a treat. It's just something which is lesser nutritional value than another food. And it takes a while to change your mindset, and it is about retraining your brain. But yeah, that's how I got to kind of where I am today. Decided to write the course about it, broke it down into like small chunks that people can kind of take in. Okay, I'm going to do this week. And yeah, that's basically kind of where I got to, how I got to where I am today.
That's brilliant. There's so many like wonderful nuances in there, and I can see them come through in the course as well. That instead of having success being something like over there, but rather being, if I bring the focus internally and just being like a little bit, just little tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the course
Absolutely.
you talk about progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
And that's
Week
just
3.
a beautiful frame. There we go. And that's just a beautiful frame to actually almost like take the power back. It's not like,
100%.
oh, there's all these evil things out there, but actually I have the power, and just making these small incremental changes, so you can actually just level up and build that out. So what do you see? I mean, in terms of the challenges that people see, like, and the challenge in your experience, what are the challenges, that everyone shared this morning? Are there any other challenges and things that you see that people are struggling with when they make change? Like, what is the...
Yeah, so the main one is changing everything all at once. This is one that I've done myself. I'm sure you've done. I'm sure everyone here has tried to do. You think Sunday night, right, tomorrow I'm going to reduce my caffeine, reduce my sugar. I'm not going to have any alcohol, and I'm going to eat broccoli with every meal. And your body's going to be like, whoa, like what is going on? You can't make all those changes at once. It's easier to break it down into small chunks, or have specific days where you make those changes. So there's 2 types of people generally. This is the kind of people that I work with on the course. Some people are okay by, if, for example, if you are eating like chocolate every single night. I had a client who ate like a massive bar of chocolate every single night, and it was just a habit that she got into. So I was like, okay, you can still have chocolate every night, but half it. So have half on Monday, half on Tuesday, half on whatever day. And that worked for her. But there's some clients who have to have, so there's another client I have who has a specific day. So she has the same issue, not with chocolate, but with sweets. And it's a case of breaking it down into the days. So I'm like, right, you can have this on a Wednesday and a Friday. Have that to look forward to. Instead of having it on those days. So there's different ways to make these small changes. You don't have to give everything up at once. That is the easiest way to fail at what you're trying to do. So yeah, that's one. Another one that people tend to struggle with is burnout. We are Britain is, well, all over the world actually, and we're trying to burn the candle at both ends, and we're working much more than we used to. Burnout is on the rise. I think it's something like 60-something% of employed people have reported being burnt out, and that's not including self-employed people. So it's definitely on the rise. People have no time for themselves. Everyone else is put first. People in this situation give up because they think it's their fault that they can't do it. In reality, they're just doing far too much. So people in this burnout situation need to take a step back, from the things that they feel are important, the things that they feel they need to do, take a step back and think, actually, what do I need to do? What is the most important thing, and what can I just shove out of the way? These people aren't making time for themselves. Self-care needs to become a priority here. Quite a lot of people don't even instigate self-care in their lives. It becomes the bottom of the to-do list, when in reality it needs to be much closer to the top. So yeah, burnout, like what I've been saying, is one of the top things I deal with. The other one that I wanted to mention was stuck in kind of, don't want to say negative habits, but habits which don't serve you into becoming kind of your best self. So it's always short-term gratification versus long-term solution. This is the most common thing, and I think a couple of people mentioned that. Can't stick to a habit that they want to either add to their lives or take away from their lives. So things like sugar, foods that they don't want to be eating on a regular basis, alcohol. This is about retraining your brain, and this is hard, and you've got to accept that you are not going to get it first time. You are going to, this is why we talk about progress, not perfection. Each time you fail, you're learning something about yourself, so you know what not to do next time. So yeah, I use a lot of CBT principles with this. I used to do cognitive behavioral therapy. I used to get cognitive behavioral therapy. I learned a lot about how to retrain your brain when I was doing that. So I use a lot of those principles. There is something which I'll talk about when we go on to talking about tips later on, a 10-minute hack, which I find really helps with the bad habits. So that's on the agenda for just later on in the video. But yeah, those are the kind of main challenges I find with clients that come to me. That's the most common things that they face.
Fantastic. Some really brilliant stuff there. There's something, really in terms of the, those bad habits. I mean, I'm an absolute, coffee, who needs sleep? I'll just have another espresso. I'll sleep next week. And then it's like, why am I a frazzled
all
mess?
builds up.
It all builds up. I'd love for you to tell us about triggers, because when you told me about triggers, like it kind of like goes like, yes.
That's what it is.
Tell us about triggers.
So everybody has triggers, and something which brings about a behavior which doesn't serve you. So I'll give a couple of examples. So there's obvious ones, which are, you've had a rubbish day at work. The first thing you want to do is come home and you'll either binge on your favorite Ben and Jerry's, which is one of my go-tos, or you'll have like a few glasses of wine, and that forms a positive connection in your head. So that's your trigger. Oh, this is going to make me feel better. But again, it's short-term gratification. So that's a trigger, kind of an easier one to acknowledge. Other ones are, for example, you have to kind of be quite self-aware. If I don't do this, this is going to happen. So it's not a case of if I do this, it's not just a case of if I do this, this is going to happen. It's also if I don't do this, this is going to happen. So for me personally, I know if I don't go outside every day and go for a walk, kind of 15, 20 minutes, that's going to affect my mental health. I know I need to do that. And that's me being responsible for my self-care. I'm not always great at it, but I know that that is a trigger for me. So those are kind of like two things, an easier thing to acknowledge and a less easier thing to acknowledge. But with triggers, the main thing to remember is being self-aware and responsible in a way, I suppose, for your actions once you realize what a trigger is for you. We tackle this in weeks 1 and 2 of the course via mindfulness. So if you wanted to go away and try and do this yourself, what I usually do with clients is ask them to note down experiences during the day. So something which triggers a strong emotion, so either like a positive or negative emotion, write down what has happened and what your initial reaction is to that situation. So if it's like an argument with a colleague at work, did you respond negatively or were you able to walk away? What did you do after that situation? Did you go and get 12 chocolate bars from the vendor? Did you go home and just drink a whole bottle of wine and then you didn't sleep very well? What is that situation? What's happened? And what would you like to happen? So if this happened again, what would you do? And what would you like to do? So yeah, that's kind of a basic on triggers. Hopefully that makes sense.
Fantastic. So I think what really struck me about your course and your process is that, and it really resonates with a lot of what I believe, is that I'm looking for the fundamental solution, not the quick fix. I'm looking for
100%.
sustained change rather than, because in the digital marketing space, it's all about, oh, 5 things to change your whole marketing strategy. And that shit doesn't work. It doesn't stick. You need to get into the
100%.
core. And I really feel like your process is about like going sustained change. And
100%.
within that, that's why the course is 6 weeks. All right.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
why,
I mean, if it should really be longer. I
yeah.
generally coach people after that if they feel they need it. But you get the fundamentals from the 6 weeks. You get the tools. So yeah, it takes, I think there was a paper, I think it was 2009. I know people say it takes 28 days to form a habit, but it can take anything between 18 to 254 days. On an average, about 66 days, so about 3 months. But yeah, the paper suggested 18 to 254 days. So everyone is different, but I would say about 3 months to kind of really get it to stick. So you need to be consistent. And that is why I've got a lot of notes down here from people's questions at the start. That is why you can't stick to a habit, because you're not doing it for long enough. It's the whole...
And you're not owning your triggers.
Exactly, 100%. Triggers and backslide, which I kind of wanted to talk about as well. I think I'm going to mention backslide. Please. So in the course as well, there is a step called maintenance and backslide. So this is about maintaining the habits that are just baby habits. They're not formed yet. They're not adults. Forming your baby habits and maintaining them into grown-up adult habits. So we come up with, it's important to come up with a maintenance strategy. How am I going to maintain this? How am I going to make sure this sticks? So we do that. Backslide, I'll talk a little bit more about today. This is obviously what we'd all talked about, not being able to stick to the habits that we've made. So that's what I call backslide. The reasons that you can't do this are the changes are too difficult and they're too much, okay? Don't listen to people when they say, you need to change this all at once, or you can do it. Just shouting and screaming at someone, you can do it, you must do it, is not going to help. They need to be easy changes, and you need to try and attach them to current habits that you have, okay? So I follow this Dr. Chatterjee, absolute fangirl, I love him. And he talks about this attachment. So for example, he will always wake up in the morning and brew a cup of tea. While that cup of tea is brewing for 5 minutes, he will do his short exercise routine that he does in the morning. He's not doing anything else. He does that every morning. He has his cup of tea every morning. So he's attached that exercise habit to a habit that he already has to make it as easy as possible. Habits do not need to be challenging. Small things at a time is the way that you're going to be able to be successful. Another reason that people struggle with backslide is, like I said, they're not giving enough time for the change. 3 months, you need to be doing this every depending on the habit, every day or every week for that 3 month period. And again, it might take a bit longer. You just need to be consistent. Consistency is key. You also have to ask yourself, why am I backsliding? What's the reason? Because sometimes the changes that you think you want to make aren't the right changes for you. For example, when I first started at the gym, I was obsessed with growing big muscly legs and big muscly bum, which I think is quite common for women starting out in the gym industry. And I was like, right, I've made myself this glute program. Glutes are your bum muscles. And I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to do it 3 times a week, and I'm going to do it every week. But I kept not being consistent. And I was like, why can't I do this? I really, really want to grow these glutes. And then I was like, actually, why do I keep backsliding? Why does this keep happening? And then I realized that actually, I don't care that much about growing glutes. So you need to sometimes take a step back from the things that you're trying to do and say, why am I actually trying to do this? Is this that important to me? Because you might be backsliding because it's not that important. So yeah, that's an important point to make with backslide as well.
Amazing. And again, that's why I love the 6-week process, because it's like, almost like you set the goal, you're going to make a change, get triggered, course correct, get triggered, course correct, sustain, build in the new habit. And I love the
Exactly.
accountability point of that as well, because it's just having someone to come back to and be like, I fell off the wagon, and have someone say it's
100%.
okay.
And you know, the funny thing is, people that do the course and people that come for coaching after, they'll come to me at the start of the session. They'll be like, oh, I always ask, do you think it's been a positive week, or do you think it's been a medium or a trying week? And they're almost always like, oh, it's been a really difficult week. I've not accomplished much. And by the end of it, they're like, actually, that was a really positive week. You know, I can see that even though I felt like I failed, I learned something new. So it's about having that person, I think, to like, it doesn't even need to be me. It could be a family member, you know, someone that you're maybe trying to make these changes with, to look at your situation from an outside perspective and be like, okay, yeah, no, this isn't a failure. This is just a learning curve. So yeah, I help you to see that it's not always a negative thing to fail.
Amazing. You either learn or you grow.
Exactly.
You either succeed or you grow. So, you know, given that like fundamental change takes time, I know you've got some great tips that you can share just to get us started. Things that we can start doing to start going in the right direction.
Yeah, 100%. So I'll talk about the 10-minute hack. This is one of my favorite ones. So this can be used for if you're wanting to add a positive habit or remove a negative habit or one that doesn't serve you from your life. It's really, really simple. I use it with a lot of clients and it works quite well. So if you say you get in from work, you've had a rubbish day, you reach for that bottle of wine, take a step back. You'll have a notepad. Write down on your notepad the reason that you're wanting to do this action. So why do you want to go and have that glass of wine? Why do you want to go and have that family-sized bag of crisps? Write it down. Write down how it's going to make you feel afterwards, logically. How is this going to make you feel? It might make you feel good for like 5 minutes, but then it's going to make you feel rubbish, generally. Go away for 10 minutes, distract yourself, take your mind away from the situation. For example, if you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. I highly doubt that you want to do that after a long day of work, but go for a walk, listen to a podcast, read a book, something like that, just for 10 minutes, set a timer. After the 10 minutes is up, come back to your notepad, write down, see if you can justify now the reasons for wanting to participate. Do it without guilt, go and do your thing. But 9 times out of 10, you will have got away from the emotion of the situation, and you will be thinking more logically now, and you'll be able to see, okay, yeah, that is going to make me feel like that. I'm going to go and do this positive thing instead. And this doesn't always work, because sometimes it is quite nice to have a glass of wine after a long day of work. But if it's something which is affecting you negatively, it works for me 9 times out of 10. So yeah, I would definitely try that. That's my tip number 1. And that's going to help with, I think a lot of people said they were struggling to kind of stick at changes or developing new habits. That's one that I use quite a lot with myself and with clients. I have a lot of other tips here. I'm going to try and tailor them down to what you guys have asked.
Phones. Tell us how to tell us how to break up with our phones.
Oh God, okay. I'm bad with this one because obviously I'm on my phone quite a lot for work, so I do have to be quite strict. So with the phone thing, I think it's just remembering. I was listening to a podcast recently about how we feel inclined to respond as soon as someone messages us. If you think about back, 80s, 90s, if someone phoned, you could only phone someone on a house phone, and you could leave a message, and you weren't upset if they didn't get back to you that same day. You would expect maybe later on in the day or the next day or even the day after that. But because we've become so accessible, we feel that we need to respond. Those blue ticks on WhatsApp, as soon as you see that, you're thinking, right, that person's read it, they've got to respond. Quite a few people I know have that switched off, and I think that's great. But you can still see when someone is online, and I don't agree with that. Anyway, in a roundabout way, it's about breaking up with being available for other people, because I think quite often, if you're anything like me, if someone sees you're online, they will message you. But you need to be less available for not just the people that are messaging you, but for your Facebook, for your Instagram. I quite often previously have found myself coming out of Instagram and then coming back into Instagram straight away. So there's a few tips for this. I know I don't actually use this because I've found that I'm able to just put my phone away now, but at night time, I know a couple of people who use, there's a mode on your phone where it just cuts off all your social media apps, all the apps which you don't want to be accessing after a certain time. So you select the time that you want to cut them off. You can go back into them, but you have to like put in a password and you have to be like, are you sure that you want to do this? So yeah, there's that, which is really, really helpful. It's also remembering that I think sometimes when you learn the science behind what keeps you awake at night in regards to your phone, you're less likely to do it. So the reason I put my phone away is I learned in the past year or so that all the blue light coming, not the blue light, but the light coming from your phone, which kind of keeps you awake. When you're waking up, 1 o'clock in the morning, you've woken up from sleep for whatever reason, and the first thing you do is you go for your phone. Looking at your phone is the equivalent of looking into the sun for your brain. So when you look at the sun, your brain is like, right, time to wake up. It's daytime, and obviously you start to your body starts to wake up. Looking at your phone, your brain thinks the same thing. So it's the worst thing you can do, either waking up in the night to look at your phone or before you're going to bed, because doesn't matter if it's dark outside, your brain still thinks it's time to be awake. And it won't start winding down until you put that phone away. And it takes you maybe an hour, 2 hours to wind down. So if you're on your phone until 11 o'clock at night, you're not guaranteed to go to sleep and get kind of wound down until those time periods are up. So I think once you kind of realize that, even when you've got those blue light glasses, you're still being affected, which is quite important. So yeah, those two things are kind of the main things that I say to clients. Also, try not to go on your phone first thing in the morning. That's quite a big thing for me. I used to do that all the time, and I found I was stressed as soon as I woke up. You're going through Facebook, you're seeing COVID things, you're seeing someone's passed away, you're seeing your friends having a drama, and that's activating stress before you've even woken up. So put your phone away just for a second. I usually set a timer for 10 minutes and I read just to let myself wake up, enjoy my coffee. That way you're not thinking about the day ahead, and you give yourself a chance to wake up without being stressed as soon as you're awake. So hopefully that helps in regards to the phone.
Do you have any follow-up questions? Because that's something that came up from a lot of people. With any follow-up questions on that?
Yeah, happy to answer any.
On the phone. Well, I'll have another opportunity for Q&A as we go.
I'll go through another few tips which I have prepared. So I think it's really important for daily emotional check-ins. So I talk about this with clients quite a lot. In the morning when you wake up, I like to, you can just think it in your head, or you can write it down. How do I feel today when I'm waking up? Do I feel a little bit stressed? Do I feel quite calm? Write it down. Why do I feel this way? Is there a way I can feel either more positive, more calm? If not, how can I kind of get through this day feeling a little bit more positive? How can I do that? And I think it's just checking in with yourself and allowing yourself a bit of wiggle room for the day. So being aware, I'm feeling a little bit more stressed today. So I'm going to be a bit kinder to myself today. And that kind of helps you get through your day a little bit more positively, if that makes sense. Daily gratitudes are another thing which are really important. I am actually naturally quite an impatient and negative person. Previously, I'm definitely more positive now, but daily gratitudes are the thing that I've had to do to become a more patient and positive person. At the end of each day, I'll sit down and sometimes I'll write it down, sometimes I'll just think it. Things that I'm grateful for about the day. So things like, silly things like, this is going to sound really strange, but the smell of the winter air after it's rained. I love things like that. And when you stop to kind of appreciate things like that, that's when you start to have a more kind of positive influence on your lifestyle, and you're able to make these changes a little bit easier. You're a bit more patient with yourself because you're noticing the ordinary things in life. So those are kind of two really important things for me, which are going to help along your journey.
Amazing. What I'm finding, I mean, theme coming through. It's just about being more deliberate about things, acting less reactively, less reacting to your environment, but just slowly, being a little bit more deliberate about how I'm waking up, how I'm spending my time, how I'm choosing to, where I'm choosing to place my attention, what thoughts I'm allowing to persist.
100%.
And I think we're just it's a power and a skill that we all have, but it's not taught anywhere.
Oh, 100%. Mindfulness is this tool that we all have, but yeah, like you said, it's not taught. It's not taught to acknowledge how you feel. It's taught to stamp it down. Mental health is this big taboo, definitely less than it used to be, but it's, the things I talk about, some people you can tell are just a bit like, oh, this is a bit hippy dippy. But honestly, the mindfulness thing and checking in with yourself is such a massive thing. How does this make me feel? Don't allow negative energy into your space. Again, sounds quite hippy dippy, but if there's anything in your life which you feel like, is going to meet this person in my life going to affect me negatively? If it is, don't do it. You don't have to do anything in your life. It's, you protect your positive energy, and you're going to be so much more successful. And if you're constantly exposed to negative situations and negative people, you are going to become a negative person and you're going to respond negatively. And that is when you start to fail in your habits, fail in your changes, because you're just constantly stressed and negative. So it's about being very in tune with yourself, your mind, and kind of who you want to share your energy with. 100%.
Amazing. Those are some awesome tips, Jade. What I love about the course and the process that you put is that the tips are great. And I mean, I've got a long list of things here that I'm like, yeah, I can see everyone's writing furiously. A question I've struggled with for a long time is like, okay, how do I all hang it? How do I hang it together? It's like, how do you eat this elephant, like one bite at a time? And what I really love about the course is that you've structured, a way of eating that elephant, calmly, consistently. It's a logical way of actually, making that change in a way that's sustainable, but also is not going to freak me out too much. I actually feel I can do it. I'd love it if you could just tell everyone, just talk through the course, talk through the process, talk through what does the 6 weeks look like?
Yeah, of course. So 6-week process. The first week we talk about mindfulness. So obviously this is something I've probably said several times in this webinar. This is about, I touched on it earlier, focusing on experiences. So things that really promote a positive or a negative emotion to you. How did you react in that situation? What did you do? How would you have preferred to act in that situation once you'd had time to think about it? This kind of lets me see what kind of situations you respond to. Do you reward yourself with food, alcohol? Do you react negatively to confrontation? Why do you react negatively from confrontation? And it's really just asking why? Because there's always a reason. And once you strip it back, instead of just accepting, okay, this is who I am, this is what I do, that's when I start to see how I can best help you and how your brain kind of works in terms of changing your habits. So that's the first week. The second week, we focus on small goals. So I have you thinking about a large goal that you want to do. So something that you want to kind of take part in. And then we talk together about how to break down that goal into small chunks that are kind of more achievable for you. Everyone's going to be different. So like I said, it might be a daily thing. It might be a twice a week thing. Everybody is different, and I like to tailor it to any specific person, because we're all different humans at the end of the day. So that is the second week. We're still kind of focusing a little bit on mindfulness because I'm still learning about you. It takes longer than a week to learn how a person works. But yeah, that's the second week primarily. The third week, we're focusing on progress, not perfection. So like I said, that's teaching you how to accept your failures as learning curves and not failures. So it's like, okay, I didn't make this goal this week, but this is what I've learned from that situation. This is really, really important because I know you guys talked about struggling to develop a new habit or maintain a new habit. So it's really important to be able to learn how to look at your failures as in a positive light, because that is how you're gonna progress, okay? 4th week is maintenance and backslide. So that is talking about, like I said before, a plan for your maintenance of your new habits and a plan to cope with backslide if you are unable to keep up your habits and you're backsliding. Is this habit something I really want to try and do? If so, if you decide that it is, you want to keep up with it, how are we going to do that? So that's kind of, again, one of the most, well, they're all important weeks, but these two are kind of pinnacle. The 5th one, we talk about self-care. So this is about resilience and how to look after yourself during times when you're struggling. This is a difficult one because I'm never going to say to someone, do not reach out to a family member or friend if you struggle. But we all know sometimes everyone's going through something and you can't rely all the time on someone else to help you. So it's talking about resilience and how to build resilience in these times of difficulty. The self-care part is talking about how to incorporate self-care into your week, because like I said, quite often self-care is at the bottom of the to-do list when it should be nearer the top. And you do have to teach this. I still find it very difficult to switch off and focus on myself. I know that you guys probably do too. So it's about teaching resilience in that area as well, resilience to self-care. So yeah, that's week 5. The 6th week is kind of where do we go from here? So this is kind of just a repeat, not a repeat of week 1, but it's talking about all the things we've learned, all the things that you are now incorporating into your life. Is there anything that you're really struggling with? Do you need help with anything in particular? And that tends to be a bit of a longer one because we're talking about, all these changes which you've made. You're not kind of, after this week 6, like I said, it says on the screen there, you will have a 20-minute roundup session the following week, just to ensure you're confident in everything that we've done together, and you're happy to kind of go off and keep these changes in your life, kind of cement them in there. So you're not just kind of thrown off on your own there. And that's pretty much a roundup of the course.
Fantastic.
I do have here, I have written obviously all these booklets which go alongside the course. So depending on where you are, I will either print and deliver or print and post. So I don't know if you can see, can people see me, John?
Yeah, yes, but I can make them see even better.
Just so I can make sure, there we go, right, yeah. So each week has a booklet. I know I'm back to front, but yeah, Best Self Course week 1. And I like to have a physical booklet because phones are great, iPads are great for taking notes, but there's nothing better than kind of writing down how you're feeling with a pen. So, you're getting each week a breakdown. Hang on. You're not going to be able to read it, but it's just so you can see how pretty it is. You're getting a breakdown of what you're going to do each week. So we'll have our 45-minute one-to-one. You will have your booklet there. We go over what it is that we're going to be doing this week. And then you have a diary to fill in different things every week, focusing on various aspects of the course, okay? So you get 6 of these booklets and you can keep them. I'm not going to ask for them back. So it helps you kind of keep structured, keep on track with all the changes that you're going to make.
Fantastic. So there's a couple of ways in terms of going through the course. So there's the course, there's the 6-week structure. Obviously, the best way to do this is one-to-one, right?
Yeah, obviously, yeah, 100%.
Fantastic. And it's £300 for that course, yeah? The one-to-one.
Yeah, £300 for the one-to-one. I've actually just decided to start a group version of the course, which is going to be much cheaper because I know in these difficult times, financials are a struggle. So I'm going to do it via Zoom. So it's still going to be a 45-minute to an hour session once a week for 6 weeks, but it will be in a group, kind of like this, in a group environment. It will be less personalized than the one-to-one because obviously it's going to be a max of 30 people in a group, and I cannot possibly personalize everybody's habits in 45 minutes. You'll still get access to the booklets, but they will just be emailed to you, so you can print them off at home. and then you can, it's exactly the same content that you're getting. It's just a little bit less support from me. So it'll be more driven by you, but you'll get the same help, just a little bit less personalized. So I'm really excited for that. There's going to be a WhatsApp group or a Facebook group. Haven't decided which yet, but there will be a group. Yeah, maybe both. That people can kind of have a community. You know, I'm struggling with this week, or so am I, because I've done that with boot camps in the past, and it really, really helps people stay motivated. So I'm really excited for that. So there's that option. I also have a mini course. So this is 6 emails over the course of a week, 1 email every day. And it just sort of goes over the main aspects of the main course. So for example, day 1 is focusing on week 1 of the course. Day 2, focusing on week 2 of the course. So you're getting, again, the aspects, and you're having a task every day that you have to focus on. The tasks are very easy to complete, but they are kind of focused on what we're talking about in that week regarding the main course. It just gives you a little bit more information. If you feel like, oh, okay, I just want to learn a little bit more, absolutely free and no obligation to sign up afterwards. Just free information, which we all love.
Fantastic. What I love about you and your work, Jade, is that you really want to help people change, and just level up and ultimately be their best self. So you've got the pre-course, got the group coaching course, you've got the one-to-one, and it's just a question of really how fast people want to get there.
100%. It's so important. I can't emphasize how important it is to me to help people, because I'm going to try and not get emotional here.
I get emotional.
I have been through this obviously for years. I'm 28 now, and I've been going through these issues since I was 19. And just to see people make those changes is just so rewarding for me, because I've been through this myself. I've had to be the one chipping away. There's obviously, I've had support from friends and family, but I've been the one chipping away. And I want to be able to make it easier for these people, whoever wants my help. These are the steps. They don't have to chip away. They don't have to struggle. This is what you need to do, and I'm going to help you do it. So it's really rewarding, and it's really important to me that people get access to that information, which is why I'm doing the cheaper group version as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, freaking amazing. So, guys, are there any questions? I mean, if I think about this course, think about the habit change, I think about the, how many cups of coffee I could save, like how much money I spend on junk, how much money I spend on like suppressing, how much money I spend on junk food, stuff that made me feel good for 10 to 15 minutes. If I invested that instead in something that would solve that fundamentally, like that would be, a profound investment. And I think it's an absolute, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's something that would pay for you, pay you for the rest of your life. So that's one of the 100%. Reasons why, I really I believe in what Jade is doing, and I want to help spread the message. So, guys, have you all got your questions answered? What questions? You've got another 10 minutes or so with Jade. What questions do you have about how to hack your habits, or about the course, or about any of the above, any and all of the above?
You can ask me my favorite vegetable, my favorite dog, anything. I'm here.
What is your favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Broccoli. Strong.
I think I've just spoken too much. Nobody's got any questions. I've answered everything.
Jade, I have a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, like, inside of developing a new habit or whatnot, like I've throughout my journey as well, I've learned like new things like the 2-day rule. I don't know if you've heard of that. So it's basically like so let's say for a week you're trying to say let's say you're trying to go to the gym every day, and the 2-day rule is that you can have a day off, but you can only have up to a day off. So you can go Monday, Tuesday, but if you need to have a break on Wednesday, then you don't go on Wednesday, but you go on Thursday. So it's a 2-day rule in the sense the max you can have off is 1. So is there any rules or anything that you've learned on your journey that you would like kind of propose or say is like helped you, I guess?
In terms of habit change, that's interesting. I haven't heard of that 2-day rule actually.
Okay.
Rules. God, I'm trying to think. I think everyone is different, and I think it goes back to triggers. For me personally, there isn't any universal rule. I think it just comes back to triggers, and that is your own personal rules. For example, I always ask myself, why am I doing this? Or why am I not doing this? So I think it's a case of you have your own rules. I need to go out for this walk because if I don't, I'm going to feel like this. So it kind of, for me, what you're saying resonates in terms of triggers, not in terms of universal rules, if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no. I was like, no, that's really helpful. Yeah, thank you.
That's all right. Any other questions, guys?
Or just thoughts, comments, observations, anything what's what have you learned? What's sparked joy for you in today's session?
I was just thinking about how much you said the going on your phone wakens you up, because I know that if I am struggling to get up in the morning, I am very conscious of the fact that if I go on my phone and I scroll, then I'll be awake to actually get out of bed, and I need to stop that. But if I really can't get out of bed in the morning, then that's exactly what I do for that reason. So it's probably
because it wakes you up.
To wake up.
Yeah. So I used to do that as well, because again, it wakes you up because of the light. Again, like you're saying, when you're going to sleep, it's the same thing, it wakes you up. So I now, as soon as I wake up, even if I'm feeling like drowsy, I will get up and jump in the shower, because you're in the shower, the water wakes you up. I just try not to think about it. One that my friend Sarah, who's another personal trainer, she uses quite often is don't think, just do. Because once you start thinking, that's when you talk yourself out of trying to do something positive for yourself, because you're like, oh, just 5 more minutes. We're all guilty of that. But as soon as I wake up, I just think, right, up, shower, let's go. Unless I have decided the previous night I'm going to have a lie-in. So it's just about trying to find something for you. I don't know about you, but coffee motivates me to get up. So I'm like, right, go up, turn the shower on, warm it up, turn the kettle on. And then I know that I'm kind of like motivated to get up. So just put your phone on the outside of the room, set your alarm, wake up, go for a shower, don't scroll. It's going to get those stress hormones going. I'm telling you, right, you'll notice the difference between having a shower after you've scrolled and having a shower before you've scrolled, because you won't be thinking about the day ahead. You'll be thinking about the shower. So hopefully that helped.
Love that. So I appreciate everyone's all got their microphones and things off. So if you've had a great time, I just want you to give a thumbs up. If you've learned something cool, amazing. Okay. Good stuff. And I think the one question no one's asked yet is, how do we learn more, or what do we do next? My recommendation is, if any of this has sparked joy for you, Jade has a 45-minute discovery call where if you want to just go and have a chat and just explore and see whether this is a good fit for you, you just book it on their website. I've put the link on in the chat. I'll also follow up with a LinkedIn message to you guys. Just say, here's the link we spoke about. I encourage you, just go and explore it, invest in yourself, and just see where this could take you. We've spoken about like habits and rules and all of that sort of stuff, but ultimately it comes down to, what do you want? What do you want? What is the life that you want? And if you feel like anything that's been shared today will help you get what you want, then, I encourage you to take action and go and get what you want.
I'd love to speak to you guys individually a little bit more about your kind of struggles and things. So obviously it's a bit difficult in a group environment. So yeah, I would encourage you to do that. Shall I talk about the best self opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I am going to offer, obviously, the best self course, the 6 weeks 1-to-1. I charge £300 for that. I'm going to offer it for £100 because I want people to experience it, and I want them to be able to kind of afford that. I don't like charging a lot for these things, but obviously you kind of have to. I wish it could be accessible to everyone. So I'm going to offer it for £100. If you are not interested in this call, feel free to refer out to someone who you feel would really benefit. What I would ask in return is a short video testimonial on how you feel the course has helped you, because that's going to help me get the word out so that I can help more people. So yeah, that's all I wanted to kind of touch on with that.
That is an amazing deal just for people that are, on this call. And I think we're looking for 5 testimonial videos because we want to just level up, get the word out there. So if you feel something for you, and you're happy to do a testimonial video, then yeah, that's an amazing opportunity to lock that in. And if you've been on the fence, then maybe that is the nudge you need.
And if you do decide to jump on with a 45-minute call with me just to discuss, there's not going to be any hard selling. It's just going to be deciding. I do not pressure people to go into things that they aren't unsure of. I want them to do it because it's what they want to do. So don't worry about that. It would just be a chat between me and you.
Fantastic. Cool. Any closing questions, remarks, observations? In fact, seeing as we talked about emotional check-in, I'd love it if you guys could just give me 2 words on how you feel after the call. So.
I feel motivated now. Gonna get some work done today. Thank you.
Woohoo, exciting.
Amazing. Thanks, Nicole.
I feel empowered.
Empowered.
Good word.
Thanks.
Good word, Will.
I feel motivated as well. I like the small goals, not just thinking, oh, right, I want to change this, that, and the other, and I want to do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Breaking it down. I like that idea.
Gets your brain going, doesn't it?
Definitely, yeah. I've got to work on that.
Good.
Fantastic. Small goals, start small, level up. I love that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anybody else?
Focused. I guess
Focused.
Yeah, focused.
Love it.
Tunnel vision, long-term vision, yeah.
Yeah, long term. That's what I like. Long term, not short term gratification.
Exactly. Good stuff. Anyone else? Susan? See, as I see the microphones coming off, I'm like.
Yeah, I'm feeling boosted, there's an energy now. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Choosing who you want to share your positive energy with.
Yes, go spread some positive vibes today. Ewan?
Yeah, no, proud of you, Jade. Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, you were here. I wasn't sure if you were checking in, Dad.
Oh yeah.
Easy. I'm here.
Jade's amazing. You should be very, very proud. Very proud, sir. Very proud indeed. Who else hasn't said anything yet? Julie and Christine, you can give us thumbs up or give us a word or two.
I quite liked your idea of owning your own triggers. I thought that was really useful, Jade. Thanks for that. I'll certainly see if I can work on that for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Triggers are the biggest issue with maintaining habits, and you wouldn't think that they are. But yeah, once you find your triggers, and they will be individual, you'll be able to stick to those habits a little bit better, I think, definitely.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like a lot of the phrases that you use. I think I would write those down and put them on a pin board. I'm hoping Christine's written them all down. And she's one for taking notes. But yeah, thank you very much. And I think you're right about the telephone. Obviously I'm a lot older than quite a few people on here. If the house phone rang after 9 o'clock, you're worried. Think, oh gosh, something's happened.
Exactly.
We have a family WhatsApp, and I kind of ideally don't like messages after 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
probably because of that.
yeah, I think so. But I think the mobile can go in the drawer at 9 o'clock downstairs. If 100%. People really need me, they can ring on the house phone. Yeah. So thanks very much for that, Jade. It was lovely to hear.
That's all right. Glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Amazing. And that's us bang on time. So thank you, everybody. There's, based on the amazing feedback today, there's an extremely good chance we'll do this again. So yeah, I'll follow up. We'll get a LinkedIn message just with Jade's contact details. I'm sure if you don't have it already. And yeah, go today, use what you've learned, and go and be awesome.
Thank you all so much for coming and listening to me chat today. Hopefully we'll hear from some of you soon. Well, I know I'll hear from some of you soon, but yeah.
Good stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Great.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.